This video is called Why Women Are Hung Up on Men That Are Large, that are hung. Why is that? Most men who stay with other people, they are dating or friends with, benefits, or only there for sex. It's mostly all about sex. What the woman makes you feel like in bed is the reasons why they can't get enough, because whomever they're married to or dating, and the person they're seeing on the side seems to be the ones that, whether they're male or female, can satisfy other folks better than a woman or a man that's married to his wife or her husband. And that's one of the reasons. There's many reasons. You know what I'm saying? I've been there. So it's like, I remember when I was with my ex, we couldn't get enough of each other sexually. I mean, in the beginning, like I told you in another video, in the end, it didn't work out like I thought it would. And she had too many people in her ear. See, that's another thing. Certain family members was in her ear on one side. I'm trying to tell her about other people that's trying to come between us on the other side. And she wouldn't listen to me. You know what I'm saying? And, she had people she was sneaking around with in the clubs, when I wasn't around, which she let come in between our relationship and destroyed it. So I'll never let that happen to me again. She can never come back for what she did. I mean, I'm always love her and wish the best for her, but she can't never come back in my life because I don't have trust with her anymore. I don't trust her. And I'm cautious about other women in the future. So, and besides, we had sex when we was first starting out, the first couple years, a lot. And she was hung up on the sides, you know what I'm saying? And there was a time where we was really into each other, and I hurt her. And what I mean by hurting her is I didn't mean to do it. I was just feeling good. I was in the moment with her. She was in the moment with me. I mean, I ripped her. I didn't mean to rip her, but I did. And I felt bad. So she went to the doctor, or the hospital, actually. And this video ain't for kids, so I'm letting everybody know that. But anyway, adults only, men and women. But went to the hospital and she got looked at, and she came back, and I was like, well, I'm sorry, I felt bad. I did it. I wasn't intentionally trying to do that. I was just into it, you know what I'm saying? She's making me feel the way I wanted to feel. I mean, she's making me feel real good, and I was making her feel good. That happened, But she came back, and I asked her, I'm like, well, what'd the doctor say? She's like, well, he asked me these questions. I said, what did he ask you? She said, is your boyfriend large? And she said, yeah. And, then he told her, you can't have sex for a couple of months till you heal. And then he gave her some salve or some kind of ointment to put on her to heal her back normal. You know what I'm saying? Because she was hurt. And I couldn't do nothing for a couple months. Actually, it was about 2, 3 months. So, I was about to bust. But I had to, let her heal. Abide by the rules of what the doctor said. So it's like, looks are deceiving, Like I said, women are hung up on a man's size, but every tall guy you see ain't always hung. And every short guy you see ain't always little. So and that goes back to your family tree, your genes, your genetics, and whoever you got in your family back then. So whatever you inherit from your relatives back in the day is going to come through the generations, and it may affect you and affect other people, and the women too, as far as being busty and hippie, things like that. But my question is, to the women, to the men, men always saying a woman got good sex. I'm like, okay, I'm sure, but why? Why do they have good sex? Because of what they do to you in the bed? That's part of the reason. The real reason for me, from my experiences, I can't speak for all men, but I can speak for myself. You know what I'm saying? I done had skinny women, tall women, fat women, white women, dark women, light-skinned women, Asian women, Indian women, Italian women, Arab women. You know what I'm saying? And I remember I had sex with this Vietnamese girl I met from New York when she was here in Columbus some years back. And she was skin and bone. I didn't realize that until we started making love, but the thing of it was, she was hurting me because her pelvic bones and stuff. She ain't had that much meat on her. That's why I like big girls, because they thick, they meaty, and they feel good. And another reason is because they deep. You hear what I said? Deep. D-E-E-P. Deep. They fulfill everything sexually that I'm looking for in a woman. Especially if they busty too. Oh yeah, that's my type of woman. But like I said, this Vietnamese girl, man, she's like, you get up. I was like, why? What's wrong, baby? She's like, you too big. I said, what? I said, well, your pelvic bones is hurting me. So, she wanted me to come to New York and visit her, and she said she'd cook for me, blah, blah, blah. But that's why I don't date skinny women like that. They gotta have some meat on them, man. That's why when I go buy chicken, I'm gonna buy legs, thighs, and breasts. You know what I'm saying? Because they got a lot of meat on them. Your breasts, the thighs, and the legs. But, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's mostly about sex. Like I told you about this girl I used to date some years back, I used to work with. She didn't want to leave her husband, but she wanted, or should I say, she liked dating black men because I guess they filled her for her fantasies. You know what I mean? Sexually. Because her husband couldn't do it. And I asked her, I said, well, I mean, is he little? She's like, yeah. She said, he can't satisfy me. I said, oh. I started laughing. We both started laughing, but she wasn't going to leave me because she was stable, She was secure. I get it, but that don't make it right. I mean, she's probably doing it to this day. But regardless, women are hung up on men that are large. And I remember when I broke up with my ex, she was like, well, he better have a big, blunt instrument. I started laughing. She left me and wanted to be with him. Then later she told me he was he was decent. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, whatever. So to me, you know, a woman just only want to be with you for sex. I mean, well, if you agree to it, then you can't get mad. You can't demand all of her time. And it goes both ways. A woman can't demand all of a man's time if he got a wife. But both don't make it right because you stood in front of, the man and got married. Now you out here doing something with somebody else that you don't want to leave your husband or your wife because you secure. Well, I get it, but that ain't gonna last for too long because sooner or later somebody gonna get caught. And it might get really ugly, because you know how people are when they find out somebody else is having sex with their mate, even if they're boyfriend and girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? So, you're playing with really hot fire. Fire is so hot, it's like when you see all these forest fires, that's how hot the fire is. When you playing with people's feelings like that. That's why you hear about so many people doing all kind of wrong things to their mate because of what they experienced and they caught somebody doing dirt with somebody else. It hurts. I know. But once I heal, I ain't going back. They can't come back. But to me, that's a damn lame excuse, to stay with somebody just for that. I mean, you think sex will solve everything? Make things better? Yeah, it does temporarily. It may to a certain extent, Yeah. Well, time frame, but not forever. Because sooner or later, you got to make a choice. Either you want to stay with this person, keep it like that the rest of your life, or you want to divorce your mate that you ain't happy with sexually. And you should have never married him in the first place. And you would have saved all that pain and misery and hurt. Don't think they ain't going to be hurt. That's when they find out. That's only temporary. Some of you folks, a lot of you folks, think you can find somebody better that's not clever, stay with someone, or based on sex. Well, when the sex is gone, guess what? You, me, or they are gone too. Don't be a damn sex fool for loving, thinking your life is over because of what you've been doing. Well, I tell you, it's not. You mean to tell me that you're going to let somebody, male, female, whoever they are, mess up your future? Sex life? Because they dogged you and dissed you. Whose fault is it? It's yours. You got in the relationship. So you gotta heal up. You gotta sit back and think what you really truly want in this kind of relationship. Women are, some of you, a lot of you, a certain percentage of you whipped. And the guys are too. And like I said in other videos, you hooked on all of that. I know women and men are hooked on that a lot. They get married strictly based on security and Yeah, security. I want it. Security and money and nothing else. When other things go bad in the relationship, that's all you got left without the sex. You have nothing. You got to build your love house and friendship, relationship, with one brick at a time. And not base your relationship on just sex. I don't care how good he or she is to you in the bed. That's part of it. Foundation, but not the full foundation of a relationship. So, why would you sacrifice your feelings like that? Because when it's over and done, you're going to hurt, you're going to cry like a baby. Trust me. Just like taking like when a baby's born and he or she's sitting in their big chair, you give them one of those things to suck on, then you take it from them, what they do, they cry. You know what I'm saying? They go through all these emotions because they want it back. You know why? Because they're used to it. They don't got attached to it. But that's the same way when you dating somebody and having sex with somebody strictly for benefits with somebody who's married, because they can't give you all their time, and they won't, because they got to protect what they got with you, then protect what they got with their wife or their husband. So that's the way it is. And this is the end of this one, but I got another one coming up. Stay tuned.